parts store, bought a fan belt because the drive
That
belt,
was it.
put it back on it.
All right, good evening and welcome to the March 22nd, 2023 Board of Estimate and Tax public hearing on the FY24 operating budget. Thank you all for your time today. Let's start, please, by Madam Clerk calling a roll.
Mayor Rilling,
Here,
Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Frere,
Here.
Mr. Jellorette,
here,
Mr. Cassimis, Miss Young. Here. 6, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Before we get going, let me remind anybody who's in the room that wishes to speak to please sign the roll. We'll also handle all of the comments from people online. Larry will call the speakers and keep time for us. Mr. Mayor, any opening remarks?
yes, thank you, Mr. Abrams. I just want to say that this was a very difficult budget year, probably the most difficult that I've faced since I've been in office. It's a big challenge because we got a lot of opposing opinions. I know we had a lot of people wanting to fully fund the Board of Education budget. We also had people who said, I can't afford a large tax increase because of inflation being at 8.5% and everything I buy now costs more. So it's a difficult challenge for us. I want everybody to know that every piece of correspondence, every speaker that came before us, we listened to, we took notes, and we did a lot of different things just to make sure that we got all the information to make a very challenging decision. I want to thank the Board of Estimate and Taxation for their hard work. I want to thank Tom Ellis for his hard work. It's not easy putting together a budget of this size, but we try to do the best we can. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will remind everybody that anyone who has provided email commentary to us, those emails will not be read tonight in this room. However, they have all been entered into the record and are available for public comment. They have all been reviewed by all of us on the BET, so we have taken that into account. I will also remind my fellow board members that our job during the public hearing portion of this meeting is to listen. It is not to react, it's not to comment, it is to listen, to take in the feedback, consider it as we make our final decisions. So with that, let's go ahead and move to the public comments portion of the meeting. We'll start, I guess, Larry, with people in the room, if anyone is signed up here, and then we can go to online comments.
Yes, before we start, if anyone remotely would like to listen in either Spanish or Haitian Creole, please click the globe at the bottom of your screen that says interpretation and select the language. We have interpreters in both languages.
Thank you for that reminder. I also remind anyone wishing to speak, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Larry will keep time. We'll provide you with a polite reminder at the end of your time. Thank you.
Also, if you're remote, if you will raise your hand electronically, and we will unmute you one at a time. Thank you.
I am Laura Cello. First speaker.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Diane Lauricella, 21 Little Fox Lane. I first wanted to thank the BET and the Mayor's Office for holding hybrid meetings. I think it really makes a difference, and a lot of folks are busy with their families. I did send material, an email. It was just a little while ago. I hope you read it. And I also wrote a letter to the editor that's seen on Nancy on Norwalk. I hope some of you saw it. I'm here tonight knowing that a lot of effort has been made, and I appreciate it. I have appeared before the Board of Estimate on and off for at least 20 years. I believe that the following suggestions do include some earth-shattering ideas. Mr. Chairman, I remember you mentioning that. I do think you and the rest of the Board of Estimate and staff may need to review and go back to the drawing board for more factual information after my discussion. The savings and revenue resources are huge if taken seriously. I would like the following Nancy on Norwalk article, and I submitted it for the record, that I wrote be part of the record. And you said you would. I have mentioned much of this in previous years with most of you that have been on the commission, on the Board of Estimate and Taxation. This year, many of you state the urgency of our budget challenges. So I ask that you refrain from voting tonight because there are things that still need discussion. Year after year, the city does not appear to be willing to go big to address the policy and practices that would make ideas about utility savings, electricity, creating our own electricity, heating, increasing our grant outcomes a reality. I'm not saying that the city is making little progress. They do make some progress, but I'm stating that they are not optimizing the opportunities quickly enough so that we're losing grant funding to more proactive towns. And I have proof of this should any of you want to speak with me after, as well as the staff. You will be told otherwise by certain staff and officials, but please just look at the actual numbers. If you were to get the actual electric bill for each public building in our city, you would find that the electricity we're purchasing from either Eversource, third or second district is costing us hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I have said, and the mayor knows this and others, if we were to optimize our use of renewable energy, especially solar, ground mounted, roof mounted, and canopy carports, and if we had done so like many other towns 10 years ago plus, we would be saving our taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm here tonight because I want to say that I do believe the parents and the Board of Ed needs to be funded more, but they have to be more sincere about going to the mat and really looking for those savings. And they have not on the issue of electricity and waste management. There is hardly any recycling and pulling out of their trash. And I have proposed before that our city DPW combine and take over trash and recycling. Why should we? This is something that we can combine. I know in the past you all and the mayor have combined dual efforts. May I wind up? Okay, thank you. I also have pointed out in my email to you revenues. We are missing on grants. We need a full-time grant team. I was kind of saddened when I found in the organizational chart that the part-time grant coordinator and manager is still under the mayor's office. And I believe the finance department is a better fit because they are constantly putting together numbers and they have deadlines. And this is the kind of thing that will help us optimize. I know we've had issues with grants coordinators in the past. I think Ms. Nigri is doing a great job given she's only part-time, but she's exhausted. So I thank you. And I ask that you consider changes in policy and governance in order to bring the expenses down and the revenues up, including enforcement. I heard what Ms. Casey Vonacek said. I am here tonight to say we need the enforcement. We need to find money and force across the board all departments to cut their electric purchasing by at least a third. And they can do it by purchase agreements this year. We just have to have the will to do so, no matter what you're told by land use and building management and staff related to it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Diane. Are there any other speakers in the room at this point in time?
There is no one else and no one remotely.
Okay. With that,
If anyone dialed into the Zoom meeting would like to speak, please raise your hand now. We do not have any more speakers here in person. Thank you.
so I'm going to suggest that we keep the line open and we give ourselves a little bit more time in case anyone's running late, in case anyone has the opportunity to speak while we wait. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Meek, I am promoting you to panelist. Please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks. I'll try to be quick here. A lot to unpack. I know a lot of time gets spent shaving nickels and saving dimes, and that's good with power and stuff like that. But the 800-pound gorilla in the room is education costs and costs of building these educational facilities. And I know we're talking about operating expense here, but a big component of that operating expenses here is debt service. And, you know, we had the luxury of the last 2 decades of not having to talk about that with 1 or 2% interest rates, but we're up to 5% today. And there's no end in sight. And building these school buildings, incurring the debt, even if it looks like it's a free building from the state, is going to cannibalize and other projects that the city needs doing. We really need to evaluate what we're going to spend our capital on. The finance director's introduction to the capital budget was very sobering, and I know we're here with operating, but this directly impacts us. I hope one day a charter revision can kind of tear down the wall that are between the two, especially in a high inflationary, high interest rate environment that we're dealing with now. I would beg everybody to go walk through that existing Norwalk High building, top to bottom, and tell me if you really, really honestly think that that's worth knocking down and worth delaying many other needed improvements and projects in our city, including the South Norwalk School, including the schools. Go look in Tracy's gym right now. It looks like it did 70 years ago. It's falling apart. There's duct tape holding doors together. It's terrible. And we can't afford to go for luxuries when we have necessities to fill. The last thing I'll say, more related to the operating budget, it was curious to me, and I don't know where this happened through state mandates or whatever, but looking at the annual report from in the 2000s, we had about 11,000 school children like we do today. But back then we only had 1,300 employees in the school system. And that was before we outsourced janitors, lunch ladies, and bus drivers. We have almost 2,000 people there for the same number of kids. There's an additional 700 or 800 people on the payroll involved somehow, I'm sure, but this just we can't be here 20 years from now with 3,000 people working in the school system for the same population. Thank you for considering that and your time and your deliberation. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Meek. Again, are there any other speakers either here physically or remotely that would like to make a comment? Okay, I would suggest we give it about 5 more minutes just to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to speak if they feel the need to. During that time, if anybody is uncomfortable, I apologize for the awkward silence, but we'll give people the opportunity to identify themselves as speakers. There was a suggestion music. I have given all the other things we've debated. I'm not going to debate musical tastes with anyone either physically here or remotely. So again, if there's anybody either in the room or remotely who would like to make a comment, please feel free to do so. If you are remote and wish to make a comment, feel free to raise your hand electronically. And then we will make sure we get that comment.
Difference. Yes. You might want to able to vote.
Adriana Romano, please unmute and accept the invite to be a panelist.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adriana Romero, and I reside at 2 Pedham Road. I just, first of all, wanted to say thank you to everyone, all the council meetings that I have been to, just to advocate and really be a voice for the budget for the school. And I know my fellow community member just spoke on regarding how the staff has, I guess, duplicated or how it has gotten up and increased with the same amount of children that we had several years ago. And I guess I can just pretty much say that the reason for that is with all the counselors and extra counselors and paraprofessionals and just the extra support that we are offering the children emotionally, mentally, and any other way that could be, I guess, offered. And I want to thank everyone in all the meetings that had spoken up and the council members of all for listening to us and even letting us voice our opinions and advocate for our children. I think the best analogy that I can actually put it into terms and speaking at all these council meetings is that you are all like a huge surge protector, and all these different departments, all these different buildings are plugged into you, and you pretty much are tasked with the decision of who are you going to plug out and who are you going to allow to continue to have electricity within you. And I keep saying it in every council meeting that I have the chance to advocate is as you go through your numbers, whether it's for the schools or any other department, I just ask, especially for the school, I ask that you please take in consideration that every number that you are trying to lower down or percentage that you are trying to lower down, that is one of our children. It's the future of Norwalk, the future business woman, the businessman, the lawyer, the hospital worker, the DPW worker, the policeman, the fire person, the mailman, whatever it is, just remember that every number behind, every person behind that number is a child and support system for that child emotionally, mentally, and physically. And I thank you for your time. And I hope that you take everyone in consideration. And I thank you for your mental exhaustion that you all have put into this decision. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Romero. Once again, are there any additional comments that anyone would like to make? Either here in the room or online? If online and you wish to make a comment, please raise your hand electronically and Larry will call upon you. We should discussion.
I consult, want to take a break and consult with Tom?
All right, at this point, we're going to go ahead and close the public comments portion of this meeting. We are also going to take a short break because we want to consult on one item, Tom, that we need your kind of guidance on. And then we'll move to the next agenda item, which is a motion to approve the budget. Okay, so let's take a small adjournment and Tom will ask you a question if we can.
Clock is right.
All right, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. We've discussed a few different things that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like you to address to the room and to the group. And then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Abrams. As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, this has been perhaps the most difficult budget year. We're faced with a huge increase with the public schools, which many people supported. We also have heard from many people who say they can't afford an increase in their taxes. We've had discussions, and tomorrow my staff and I will be meeting with Dr. Estrella and her staff to discuss some other possibilities that we can end up, that the school can end up getting more funding without affecting the mill rate. So we're hopeful that we can work through that. And we're going to give it our best shot. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Based on the fact that that meeting is going to take place tomorrow, I would like to ask for a motion to delay the vote on the budget for this year until after that discussion. Can I get that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Motion to adjourn.
So that will push out for that discussion. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. We appreciate again the public comment.